Most people have heard of the Logitech C922 and the C920, but not many have heard of the C615. It has the same resolution and frame rate as the better known webcams, but it is way cheaper, and this is how it performs. Beginning with using a ring light on ourselves, and it doesn't look bad. The movement looks good, and it looks as though we are getting the full 30 frames per second. We do look a little overexposed when we get close to the lens, but we are currently using the default settings, so I imagine we can get a better result if we manually change this. The colours are looking natural too. Using natural light coming in through the window, and we do lose some quality. The movement still looks decent, but it is a lot more juddery than what we were getting with the ring light. We do look slightly out of focus too, and the autofocus does try and refocus occasionally, but never quite getting us back into focus. And if you do use this in a dark environment, then you can expect a lot more judder to the image and a lot of grain too, so it will be usable, but as with all cameras, it's best to have some lighting on yourself. Focusing on a small object, and most of the time it did a really good job, allowing us to get close to the lens and further away with it recalibrating itself quickly. We did have occasions though where it would completely lose the focus, and it required us to keep coming closer and further away again for it to recapture it. If you want to use this as a visualizer to display text, then it will do a good job. The autofocus seemed to work well on the text, with it focusing quickly when we move close and further away. This is a microphone test of the Logitech C615 webcam. This is the kind of audio you can expect. When we sat naturally at our desk with our ring light on, you can see that we are looking overexposed on our face, with it looking quite washed out. Unticking the exposure setting in OBS and playing around with the slider, and we were able to get a much better image. We did notice that if we turn on a light behind us, then there's an erratic change with the colour on our face, but you can manually set the white balance to prevent this from happening. Having another play around with the autofocus, and it does seem to perform really well with it focusing on our box, and when we move it away quickly, it focuses back on us within about a second. Setting up a green screen behind ourselves and using the chroma key filter in OBS, and it wasn't too bad. We do get some pixelation on the side, but this is more down to our lighting setup. We do seem to be slightly out of focus when we did this test, and very overexposed using the automatic settings. Manually setting the exposure caused a much worse final image, so you will need to have a play around with the similarity option to improve it again. If that autofocus is causing issues, then you can disable it and manually set this yourself just to fine tune the image and get yourself in perfect focus. We also get the zoom option, but even though you can slide all the way to the number 5, only going from number 1 to 2 works, so you'll either have the standard field of view or one that is zoomed in. The head can be moved up and down to help get you into frame, and it can also be rotated a full 360 degrees. Rubber pads on the inside allow it to be mounted to a screen and minimise the chance of scratches, and it can be mounted onto a tripod if required. One big drawback though is that the USB cable only measures approximately 94 centimeters, so it's really short, meaning that your USB port will have to be close by. If you want to check out the more premium Logitech C922, then be sure to click on the video on screen now and let us know if you think it is better than the C615.